the moon and back and across the Milky Way. It's Cosmick Talk with Chris Natalini and Mick Michael. News, movies, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cosmick Talk. This is Season 1, Episode 3. I am here with Chris Natalini.
What up? What up?
And I am Mick Michaels. Welcome back, everyone, to Episode 3. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? I am doing awesome. At the time of recording this, the weather is completely crap. It went completely downhill. Yesterday was gorgeous, but prior to that, it was, at the time of recording this, the week was crap, man. It just rained. It was chilly. We went from like 80, 90 degrees to like 50. I hate it. I hate it. Pick one and do it. Let's stick with it.
May is the new April, and I've learned that May is, it may be hot, it may be cold, it may be sunny, it may rain, it may snow. Welcome to PA.
That's so annoying. So annoying. But other than that, doing well. How about yourself, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm making it through. I'm swinging. I keep swinging. Some days I'm swinging less than others, but, you know, whatever. I'm just doing the best I can. This is the way it is. This is the way.
Are you hitting fouls out of the ballpark?
I'm getting hit in the face. I'm probably swinging and missing more often, you know.
I'm taking the hit and taking a walk.
That's right. It's basically it. I start finding it's a lot easier. It saves my shoulders. Just hit me in the leg. I'm walking over. I don't have to run.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Yeah, but here we are, man. Already episode 3 of this limited series, summer series. It seems to be going okay.
Yeah, man. Listen, I love talking to you every week. That's the highlight of my week. But, I love talking pop culture. I live for this kind of stuff. Like, I am one of those Entertainment Weekly, watching the red carpet, watching the award shows kind of guy, although I've kind of backed off a little bit because everybody has gotten political and nobody remembers that they're just actors and actresses. Like, just make your movies. And it doesn't matter what side of the political argument you fall on. I just don't need Mr. De Niro telling me what to do and who to vote for. I kind of even felt like that, like back in the day, when MTV was doing that rock the vote thing. I mean, it was cool. Like, I totally I get what they were doing, especially because, Dave Mustaine from Megadeth was a big part of that. And Megadeth has always been kind of political, but not really taking a political stance, just being politically topical. And, that I'm okay with. I just don't like these actors and actresses that come out and tell me what to vote, who to vote for and what to do. And this is why. And, I don't need Robert De Niro telling me how to think. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that he's trying to make the country better. And in his way of thinking, he's trying to make the country better. But I just don't need that. I don't need Robert De Niro telling me what to do. And I keep using Robert De Niro because he's a big culprit of it, in the last few years. And not that he cares, because he doesn't have to care. But I think he's really done some damage to his career. Not his legacy, but his career in 2024. I think he's done some damage to it because from what I understand, some people won't work with him, and that's just silly to me. That's just,
What's always baffled me is, like, these guys work in a make-believe world, right? And I understand that. And listen, I like movies, I like music, I'm all into it. Movies and music were like a salvation for me growing up. For a lot of people, they were an escape, because I didn't have much growing up. It was very limited. I spent a lot of time watching movies. Like, there was a point, not so much today, for a long time as a kid and teenager and young adult, I'd watch any movie that was on. It didn't matter what it was, how old it was. I found something about it. These days, I find I'm a little bit more particular, and maybe it's because there's too much to choose from. Yeah, like, sometimes I'm like, what is this? What is this? Oh, man, I don't... Like, you're almost afraid to take the chance. But back then, again, you had maybe 3 stations, or, you had limited cable, or, whatever. I didn't like it either. I never liked it. And I remember when MTV did it, and I was like, I guess looking back on it now, there was a whole nother agenda being pushed there. Like, they were being lobbied to take advantage of a generation to get them to vote a certain way. They were trying to sway the vote. And that was kind of a bummer when you look back at it. And most people, they were snowed by it because they didn't know one way or the other. And I think what happens is you get a lot of people that get political either when they're late teens, early 20s, because they're hitting college and everybody thinks they're super educated and they haven't even set out on life yet. They're not even paying real taxes. And then you get older people who don't want any more of their money being taken, or they're trying to, like you said, establish something that works best for them, and they don't want to change. And I can understand that, right? I mean, we're supposed to be by the people, for the people, you know, something like that. But it's paid for by the people, not necessarily done for the people, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But stars, celebrities, I always had a hard time with it saying, well, like, you're not even in the same tax bracket, zip code. Yeah, I don't see you in my neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Things are way different. And, you know, you're using your influence again to persuade, and we don't know what type of lobbying's happening to them. Like, who's paying you, who's throwing you this, who's throwing you that. I don't understand that whole thing because that's not my life. I'm not, you know, I don't have people trying to lobby me to do certain things to make other things happen. But that whole Robert De Niro thing, it's a bummer because I enjoyed him as an actor.
Oh, come on.
You know, when you're taking time out to video and then release statements about other people, and you're going to punch people in the face and beat people up. Like, well, first of all, why should I even take you seriously now? Because now you're nothing but a bully and a thug.
Right.
Like, maybe you're getting your acting roles confused with your real life, buddy. Like, I mean, because there's real life guys out there that, you know, they'll slap you and you'll go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
no, that's 100%.
Yeah, so
that's
I mean,
100%.
like, there are celebrities who, like Alice Cooper's one, that celebrities should just kind of keep their mouths shut and do what they have to do. You know, I know Denzel Washington is a guy like that, and I think that they get lost in their own hype that they have all this stuff. So it's kind of a bummer. You know what I mean?
It is a bummer.
Because, I mean, musicians have done the same thing. You know, I've been at shows that guys have gotten a little too much, and you're like, can you just play the song? Like, I mean, I'm not really...
Right.
Like, I get what you're saying. I respect your opinion, but, I mean, that's not what I paid the $6,500 for a nosebleed seat for.
Right.
And, you know, I got to walk a mile in my car, and I paid $50 in the worst neighborhood possible. I'm not even sure my car's going to be there.
Right.
And you're talking about, you know, this. Can we just play the song like your hit from '92?
Right. That's the thing about Hollywood nowadays. I mean, there's always been sort of that. I just think it's because the world is so divided, or at least, you know, they try to tell us that it's divided. You know, that's when the celebrities should not be as vocal as they are now, because, you know, now you're really digging into your career and your pocket. You know, back then, like when the Jane Fondas were doing it, you know.
When she did it, you know, Hanaway Jane there, I was an extremist, but the old Hollywood unwritten rule, the studios would tell you, you don't let people know your personal life because it could ruin your career. Don't let people know you got married. Don't let them know your orientation. I mean, they did it even in the music business. I mean, especially with a lot of young pop stars back in the old Motown days and all. You know, they did it with Michael Jackson. You know, they talked about, you know, staying single. Like, it's how you keep fans engaged. And, you know, once you're married, it throws the audience off, and then you may lose a certain demographic and all that kind of stuff. Private life is private life. The funny thing is regular people now do that on Facebook all the time. What do they say? Like TMI, right? Is that too much information?
TMI.
Is that what it is?
Too much information.
And so people use that's become a saying now. It's like, well, it's the same thing. Like, I don't need to know my favorite guitar player's political persuasion. It doesn't matter. Because I'm not judging him on that. I'm not interested in that. I enjoy the music. Like, the music is, you know, I don't want that ruined in the process.
And you know what, Mick? At the end of the day, it's not our business.
Right, it's not our business.
It's not our business. And, you know, I don't remember who I saw one time, and I wish I could remember. I was watching an interview with a celebrity one time, and I don't know if they were asked a question or if they were talking about it, or if they brought up their own. What they were saying was, being a movie star and a TV star are two different worlds, because being a movie star, it's big, it's, you know, it's big Hollywood, but being a TV star, because you're in people's homes every week, that's when people expect to know more about you. Like, because I see this person every week, you become personally invested in their life, right? Whether you're watching a sitcom, you're invested in their life because you see this person every week, and you fall in love with this person, and So when, these people on TV, are trying to hide something, or, it's nobody's business what their orientation is or what their political views are, everybody goes crazy. And everybody, if they post something, everybody's like, oh my God, what's wrong? And they go, listen, it's none of your business. And everybody gets irritated and pissed off. And they're like, we're not friends. Like, I am just in your house every week. That doesn't make it right for you to know my business. I am still playing this character. I'm still, these aren't my lines. I'm fed these lines. And I looked at it, I'm like, man, that makes complete sense, because I know how I watch weekly television. You I don't want to say attract's not the word I'm looking for, but like, you feel like they're your friends, right? Like I watch pro wrestling every week. I've been watching it for 50 plus years. And so I understand, because I'm invested in these people's lives and their character, and you want to know more about them. But at the end of the day, it's really not my business. I just see them every week. So it feels like they're a part of your life, as in like your friends, or like you, like I see you every week. It's that relationship to TV and to, big movies, which when that person said, I believe it was a female, I just wish I could remember who it was. I was like, oh man, that makes complete sense.
Oh yeah, I totally get it. I think I've been victim of it myself, in terms of, you get so involved in the show, like you're bummed when it's over and you can't wait till the next one, and you're thinking about it, and especially now that you can binge watch shows that you didn't get to see in its first run, and then you're like, oh man, it's over, right. You know what I mean? And I guess that's part of the human condition of, we want to be wanted, we need to be needed, we want to be included type of thing. And we're all searching for a level of relationship. I mean, even though many of us like to be alone, but at the same time, we're not, because our whole society's been built on community. I mean, you couldn't survive without a community of people, and that did different things. You had the hunters, the gatherers, you had those that cooked, you had the faith-based people, like the shamans of the tribes and the doctors of the tribe, or sometimes the shaman and the doctor were the same thing, or, you had the elders and so on. So nobody did it alone. And then sometimes we forget that. We forget that.
Yeah, yeah.
I know sometimes I'm saying some political things, and I don't know from a hole in the ground when it comes to all that, because I actually steer clear of it for sanity's sake.
Yeah.
Like I made a decision. It's like, well, listen, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, so I'm not going to talk too much about what I'm not too clear of. So though I do it with music all the time, and I'm still not sure I know what the hell I'm talking about. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? And I don't feel that it's my need to necessarily... I'll say it in jest here. It's part of the joke. It's part of the, the content. But honestly, man, you vote how you want to vote. You do what you want to do. You do who you want to do. As long as you're not bothering me and I got to clean up the mess on my front yard, man, do it. So's each his own. So's each his own.
Yep. That's 100%, man. What you do at your home, as long as everybody's consenting and, everybody's into what's going on, I could care less. None of my business. I'm not interested in hurting anybody. I think everybody has the right to make it the best that they can possibly, whatever. And if you like doing this and I don't like doing it, hey, whatever. It doesn't make a difference to me. I don't care. It doesn't. I can still talk to you. You know what I mean? I can still talk to you. We can still associate. Because of all the craziness that's happened in the last 5 years or so, I know of people that will not speak to other people, even family members, because of, well, you do this, and you believe in this, and you believe in, well, like 10 years ago, did it make a difference? Right? And 10 years from now, is it going to make a difference? Does it change anything? Oh, I didn't know you were like that. Well, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Whatever, man.
And, a perfect example of that, too, and then we could start with the show. Dave Mustaine a couple of weeks ago had put out Dave Mustaine, again, from Megadeth, he put out a statement on his social media where he hadn't spoken to his sister in 20, 30 years, I think, because of her major religious values. In the beginning of Megadeth's career, he was into, so he says, he was into all that evil, devil, black magic stuff. And, their songs now he won't do because he has become more faith involved as the years have gone on, especially with his cancer and all this stuff. So, but he put out, he hadn't talked to his sister in 20 years because of their beliefs. I guess she was sick, and I guess she was on her deathbed. I guess she called him and they had talked and they had made up, and then she had passed. So, that's crazy to me when, because of your beliefs, like Dave's just a musician, right? I mean, it's just what it is. Whether you like his music or not, he's just a musician. and it's your brother. And because you don't see eye to eye on religious things, like that just, it doesn't make sense. Even political things, I never understood not talking to somebody because of their political views.
They have that rigidness.
Oh,
like
yeah,
saying,
man.
well,
Big
if you're not doing this, then it's, it's my way or the highway type of thing, all or nothing. And that's a shame.
It's crazy. It is, yeah, it's
and
crazy.
I think that
it's
we've become, as a people, we've become more of that since COVID. It's this or that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, I mean, and I don't, like I said, not sure I know anything, but I don't think life works like that, because if that was the case, I would be doing something else. I'm sure of it. Like, you know what I mean? But that ain't the case. I mean, sometimes you got to, whatever. So anyway, there you have it, an uplifting note. Sorry, Mr. De Niro. Are you talking to me? I am talking to you, sir. I am talking to you.
It is De Niro, dude.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You're listening to Cosmick Talk with Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels.
Anyway, here we go. So, what we're going to talk about in the remaining time of this show is our favorite podcasts and YouTube channels, YouTube shows. Go ahead, buddy. Who do you like? Who tickles your fancy?
You know what tickles my fancy, man? Politics. No, I'm kidding. Well, I'll start with some of the YouTubes, because some of the YouTube channels I do watch are in a podcast format. They just have a video format. As much as music I am into, I don't really watch like a lot of music. I really don't even listen to a lot of music podcasts. I'm such a big movie person and a travel person. So I watch a lot of travel vlogs, whether it's theme parks or different beaches. Like I love it. There's a channel called Attractions 360, and they travel the world and they videotape all these roller coasters from a POV point of view, and which is killer. Because there's places I may never see. Like it's how it is. I love. There's a young lady by the name of Jackie. Her show is Super Enthused. She started just doing Disney, but her and her fiance have now, because he's from England, so her and her fiance have now travel, and they do all these theme parks. She's a teacher, so she only does it during the summer. Like, she does all these travel things and Dollywood and all these different places and, stuff like that. Then there's a couple that me and my wife have kind of gotten friendly with over a little bit of period of time, called the Grimm Collective. And they travel. It's a couple from California, and they travel and they go to like the Hollywood Cemetery, and they go to like all these haunted places, and they do these researches. And my wife and I had just spent some time with them at a convention not long ago, and we were talking to the wife, and she was saying that they're so busy, like for the next 6 or 7 months, like almost every weekend they're traveling, which is just crazy to me. But we were laughing because she was saying she doesn't even know where she is half the time. Like, she just follows her husband, and they go to all these really cool places, and they do or they'll go to like maybe they'll travel to the Amityville Horror House, and they'll, do a little thing about the Amityville Horror, or they'll recreate scenes for fun. And, sometimes they'll go to like these conventions of, like they just were at Trans World, which Trans World is where all these big companies come together and they put their, their big Halloween decorations up and what's new this year. And, like that kind of stuff, like Trick or Treat Studios selling new masks. And it's kind of like a convention for the industry is the word I was looking for. I also watch a lot of wrestling podcasts, Busted Open from SiriusXM. They're now on YouTube. And Joe Rogan I only watch / listen to Rogan if he has somebody that I'm interested in watching or listening to. Some of the people he's had on there, comedians, like when he has comedians on, I don't really listen that much. It depends on who the comedian is, but I really listen to if he has like a musician I'm really into. Like, he's had David Lee Roth on a couple times. He's had James Hetfield on. Kid Rock, I watched that one, because his podcasts are so long. So I will listen and or watch it. Again, it depends on who the person is Rogan has on. But I usually only listen or watch Rogan if he has someone, Kevin Smith, if it's someone that I'm interested in watching. He had Dwayne Johnson on not long ago and that kind of stuff. Yeah, man. I mean, there's some. Darker Art Studio. I listen to her podcast. Her name is Rocky. And she usually has some paranormal experts on, or books, authors. She has one. Then I have a friend of mine named Sherry Dotson. She does a unsolved murder kind of thing. A lot of her stuff is unsolved crimes that she does. And she's been in the podcast world not too long. and she's done very, very well for herself. It is called From the Dark Side Podcast. She is a friend of mine also, and she discusses disappearance, true crime cases, and other strange stuff without all the banter. So I listen to hers. I listen to Eddie Trunk once in a while, again, depending on who he has on, but I really mainly stick to the Movie Crypt. I listen to a lot of horror movie podcasts, but I really kind of stick to travel and movies. I mean, they're my biggest vlogs and podcasts I listen to on a daily basis. The Cosmick Voice I listen to.
Well, you need the ratings.
How about you?
Well, just like you, believe it or not, I don't do a lot of music stuff. I mean, it's not to say that I don't do it. I don't really follow anybody particular. I mean, just in recent time, I've started watching a channel, but I didn't subscribe to it, called Metal Classics, and they just talk about some of the older bands, and they're short, which I like. They're kind of cool like that. I used to watch the Axis TV with Sammy Hagar. Really enjoyed a lot of that. Yeah. That was really good stuff. But again, I didn't subscribe to it, but I watched it. I do more YouTube watching than I do actual podcast stuff. I do listen to Brothers Grimm since they've become a podcast. It actually works better for my schedule, believe it or not, because after I've heard the Cosmick Voice, that's the next one that automatically plays because I'm subscribed to it. So it makes it easy for me, and I can do it while I'm working. I'll periodically watch some other stuff. I'm into like different things myself. Like I watch a guy from the UK, he's called Toy Polloi, and he repairs toys. Old classic vintage toys, Star Wars and Buck Rogers and G.I. Joes and He-Mans and stuff like that. I just love that. If you remember, it was Toy Story 2, the guy that was the toy repair guy. I was like, I want that job. That's the coolest job. I want that box of magic, because I used to always fix my own toys. And I just thought it was a thing that, poor kids did. It's like, well, I got to fix my toy, right? When I discovered this guy, I'm like, oh my God, I used to do stuff like that. But this guy is so awesome, like so much so that it inspired me to do bigger repairs as an adult. I was a Star Wars collector for a lot of years. I still do some, but nothing like I used to do. And I would sometimes buy damaged things and then fix them up and either resell them, stuff that I would sell and stuff that I would keep myself. That's the problem with a collector, right? A lot of times you wind up keeping things. I also then, during COVID, I got into kit bashing, which was a term that was created while Star Wars was first being made. Those modelers would just take old model kits, break them apart, and create new spaceships and stuff out of that. So I actually started that. So during COVID, I must have made several dozen of them. So I started creating my own spaceships and stuff. I wound up giving a lot of them away, and some of them I threw out after a while. I got into a lot of that. I remember for a while I was watching, this all kind of falls in line, I was watching guys that make dioramas for toys and stuff. And I just, I'm a big toy guy. I love toys. I really do. Even as a 50-some-year-old man, I'll go to the toy section. I look around. Like, I still collect Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. I don't open them. That's the problem. I don't open stuff anymore. I do like going to those classic toy stores where stuff that's already open. So then I go, oh, I can fix this, I can fix that, And I subscribe to that. The other one that I subscribe to that I've gotten into, like in the last 8 months, is a workout, fitness, health type of YouTube channel called Renaissance Periodization. Dr. Mike Isertel. He's about my height, but he's built like a brick S-house. I've always been into weightlifting and fitness. I did fall off the wagon there several years, and then I changed things because of injury and things like that. And then I took a step back, and we've talked about it on the other show that I've gotten back into it. And I wanted to learn more of the science. A lot of things are more science-based now. And he does it with some humor and some foul language, which, I enjoy. We don't do it here, but I'm not offended by it. I think it's funny. Right. It's not over the top, and I don't think it's forced. I think it's natural.
Right.
Going back to earlier in the show, I think that, like, De Niro as an actor, he was one of the best actors. Him, Pacino, and Pesci. 3 Italians could use the F word in the... I mean, just unbelievably. And I think that was one of the reasons that draw me to their character, because in my real life, I use that word quite often. And it's an art form. We talked about it on the other show. It definitely is an art form. But there's other fitness YouTube channels that I'll go through. I don't subscribe to them, but I watch them regularly, because you know how YouTube works. Once you start watching stuff, they start popping things in.
Yep.
There were some other podcasts that I got into. I'm not even sure I can talk about them because then people would, like at the beginning of the show, they judge you in different things. Nothing bad. I mean, I'm not into fetishes or anything of that nature. But
right.
A lot of the stuff that I watch now is educational. Like, I feel a need to be educated. I have learned by reading stuff that it does help the mind. If you put it into play, application, it can prevent dementia and possible Alzheimer's. It keeps your motor functions going. So it's kind of things like that. It is odd that we do our own music podcasts. We play music, we write music, but I don't listen to it that often. It's because I think I'm doing it enough in a certain capacity. Again, I'm not turning a blind eye and saying, oh, what I do is only important. And it is, but at the same time, there's only so much, and a lot of it's opinionated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, if you think about it,
Yeah.
a lot of the music-based stuff is opinionated. But I do, like you were saying, like I see Joe Rogan, but I usually watch the highlights. Same with Eddie Trump.
Me too.
The highlights. Sometimes it's just him rapping about himself in a certain capacity, but, you know, whatever it is, it is. I mean, but, you know, I think the thing that keeps drawing me back to Eddie Trunk is because he was from that era that we were.
Yeah,
you know?
And listen, not for nothing, like, I'm not a big fan of the guy either, but he does know his stuff. Like, he's not a dumb person, right? No. Like, he's a major music historian.
Oh, yeah. And thing is he started out so young, and he's been there.
Right.
Like, he literally seen the uptick and the downtick of this, like, especially the metal and hard rock industry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's definitely, even now, he's just a few years older than we are. He's still relevant. He still has his finger on the pulse. Yeah, a lot of it is centered around some of the veteran artists and acts. Mm-hmm. But, listen, there's still a call for him. People still want to hear from him. So,
yeah.
That's why they keep showing up.
Let me ask you this, Mick. Do you watch any of the, like, when you're watching YouTube in your spare time, like if you're just kind of scrolling around, not looking for anything in particular, do you try to watch any of the old Headbangers Balls that are on YouTube nowadays? I don't
think I've gone out of my way to look for them, but they have come up my feed, and I do watch them. There's just something cool, you know, like a lot of, like, I go, oh, I remember that, and then I try to go, and actually some of the episodes I do remember, I go, oh, I remember watching it. I was never a huge fan of Ricky Rackman. When they changed over to him, I was kind of like, you know. I always liked it when they had the guests, the hosts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that was cool. I definitely loved it when Dee Snider was doing it. I even didn't mind when Adam Carey was doing it. You know, they were trying to, you know, he's now a reborn Christian, and he's changed his ways. Doesn't listen to that music anymore.
That devil music. I think the thing with Ricky Rackman, I think with him, I guess they assume that because he was a part of the Cat House at the time and he had all these LA band connections, it was probably easier to get guests, although a lot of people made fun of him because they were friendly with him. I didn't mind him so much. I think he's an egotistical jerk nowadays from things that I've read and like watching a little bit of his, I've seen some clips of his spoken word stuff, but I didn't mind him then. I kind of dug him because I was into that scene, and because at that time, man, he was in it. Like he was living it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, by like 91, 92, Headbangers Ball kind of changed. You know, it was hit or miss for me because the era had changed and things had changed, and you know, whatever. I love YouTube. I mean, I think it's years ago I used to watch a podcast, and it's no longer on anymore, but it was called Ask a Ninja. It was on the early days of YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, and this guy was, I mean, he would dress in the whole ninja suit, so you never know who he was, and it was quick edits, and he would just talk about weird topics from a ninja perspective. It's still out there. It's still available. It still gets hits, but you have to search for it. It just does, you know, but there's nothing new. There hasn't been anything new in years. One of the greatest ones that I've seen is like, they talk about the number 3. It's just a staple in my mind for like one of those early classic YouTube channels. You know, before it really became like this, like a selling thing, commercialized so much. But
yeah.
I love YouTube in that capacity, and you could pretty much find anything.
You know, it's funny because I was going to ask you what's the weirdest, not the weirdest, but like which one out of the box one that you watch, and that was one of them because I'm also addicted to have you ever seen Brave Wilderness? I think the guy's name is Coyote Peterson. Like his thing, and I don't really know his background. Obviously he knows what he's doing, but his thing is like he gets stung by all these or bit by all these different animals.
Oh,
I guess he's like the crocodile hunter kind of guy, although he's not Australian, but he's like one of those where he offers information and shows you get stung by like these crazy insects and bloodworms, and he's just like watching it's I don't want to sound like this, but watching him get stung by something and scream in pain is so funny to me, because I think, God, like, what are you doing, bro? Like, is this really worth it?
It's like Jackass of the wilderness.
Yeah, exactly. But I watch him and I enjoy him, and he's very informative. He knows what he's doing, because he wouldn't be, I'm sure he wouldn't take these risks, but it is pretty funny watching him get bit by these like tarantula wasps, or whatever the hell they're called. And that's an odd one that I do catch on occasion when it scrolls across my screen.
I mean, like, obscure ones, I don't know. Again, like, some of the stuff that I do is mainly educational. Though, during that whole Cat Williams thing, I did watch Club Shay Shay. But they had Ric Flair on there, and that was a great interview. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I watch Club Shay Shay once in a while. Again, depending on who.
There's a lot of things that I'll frequent, but I don't necessarily subscribe to them. I do a lot of... I watch a lot of history-type things, specific history-type things, and sometimes how they relate to, like, biblical stuff. And again, it's educational. For a while, I was watching a lot of, and this was a couple years ago, I was watching a lot of things on Mandela effects. And I was, because I'm saying, I'm trying to figure it out myself, because, I'm that smart. Like, well, what do I remember? And some of that's what it is. It's like, what do you remember? And I'll tell you, some of the things that I remember is just simply because I didn't know how to read, I didn't know how to write, and I didn't know how to talk. So I was pronouncing things completely wrong. My family was doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Nah, I don't think it was ever really called that. What are you talking about? That's what we always called it. Yeah, that's what we called it. That doesn't mean it was right.
That's so true.
So, my wife still corrects me all the time about, like, I don't know, about a lot of things. And I go to her, I go, whatever, you know what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Like, after all these years, we got to go through this. When I like a podcast or a YouTube channel, I wind up, like, texting it to my family. I go, you got to listen to this. Look, the guy says that whole diet soda thing's BS. I'm going to keep drinking it. Leave me alone about it. You know what I mean? I try to find evidence to support my claims.
Your Diet Cola addiction.
My Diet Cola addiction. All right? So I'm going to keep pounding away at it. Don't worry about it. I'm buying, you know what? From now on, I'm buying it by the case. The 3 liters by the case. I actually been doing that. I've been bringing in 6 3-liters at a time now. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's craziness. So, what are you going to do?
I think vlogs and podcasts have become obviously a huge thing. It's crazy. Like, sometimes I watch these vlogs and I go, my goodness, like, look at the numbers some of these people are bringing in. It's, it's crazy. And, sometimes some people just have that niche, man. They know, they're creative enough where people check it out, and guys like us will watch it. Even the people that load the old Headbangers balls up. Like, did they go, hey, I mean, obviously they go, somebody's going to watch this, and here I am on my couch. I'm like, oh my God, I remember this video.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and again, like, going back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show, you brought up that article about, like the TV stars, and you get connected to them, and you think you know them. Same thing's happening with some of the blog stuff. You know what I mean?
That is 100%, dude, yeah.
Some other stuff I watch stuff on vintage Star Wars toys, and I think I've talked about that before. Like, I watch That Junk Man, things like that. Some of it's nostalgic for me. Some of it's because I have an interest or I'm involved in something of that nature. And it's like, regular life, regular people things.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, and then, like you were saying, like, both the blogs and the YouTube channels, I mean, they pretty much have something for everybody. And even within those categories, you can break stuff down. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this guy's a little more extreme into this. This guy's a little bit more lighthearted. These are, whatever. I mean, I've even seen some of the channels that I watched over the years, like other channels, they're fighting with other channels. Because, you're taking my viewers, or you said this on a thing, and, well, maybe that's how they get, ratings and people to watch. So maybe we need to start saying that about other places.
I think if you watch a lot of the theme park guys, more guys and gals, more of the Disney related vlogs, you'll see the infighting is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Well, obscure thing, just on it, like, 2 things that I got into short term over the last year and a half was guys living in cars and little trucks. Like, and these are professional people, like doctors and lawyers, and they create like this whole living space in these cars. It's just amazing. Yeah. And it's a huge thing all over the world. Like, it's not just here in the States. It's like China and stuff. And then the other thing is these landscapers that cut people's lawn for free.
Oh, they're one of those guys is the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible stuff. I mean, you know, it's like, man, I like growing up in my neighborhood, I'm not sure you would have came out of, you know, whatever. I think your lawn stuff would have been stolen, but like, you know, it's more power to them, man. You know, I think it's awesome because the transformation of these houses, and I don't know what townships they live in or whatever, but I know in our local area, you get a fine. If your grass grows like an inch too high, boom.
Mine too.
Yeah, so.
Mine too. I hope one day he just walks past my house and asks me to do mine because I hate doing mine, so I would totally be okay with doing mine.
Come on, buddy, do it up, baby.
Especially like the edging, like his, you know, when he does all the edging, it's so perfect.
I'm
constantly fighting with my head.
Oh, me too. I had to get a new weed whacker last year because mine went down, and I still can't get the hang of it. Like, and it's tearing everything up, and I'm so angry about it because they don't make that other model anymore. And every time, like, I'm complaining. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, you know, it bums me out. It's just a struggle. Like, can't somebody just come by and go, listen, sir, this is how you do it? Man, nah, I'm got to go.
How about you do it for me?
Yeah, how about you do it for me?
Inside.
You know what I mean? You need a bottle of water.
Exactly.
So,
but yeah, I've seen him too. I like that guy. That guy's pretty awesome. I like that guy.
Go check out your YouTube. And again, like I'm saying on every show, we're not endorsed by any of these shows or anything. They're just things that we enjoy and that we want to talk about. So go check them out, and more power to them. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
You got anything else you want to add, buddy?
The one thing about YouTube, and I'll end on this, the one thing about YouTube is you watch something, and you're like, this is so cool. And then you're like 4 hours later.
I know. The whole day's shot.
6 hours here.
I know. Did you do anything? Nope.
I just went down this rabbit hole of watching animals and cats.
Cats and, you know, lawn care and living out of a Toyota. If you like that episode, check out some of our other episodes at www.thecosmickvoice.com and talk it up with us. Thanks so much for listening. This is Cosmick Talk.